Okay, so here is my comment on this video that shows a candidate who supposedly got band 4 for the IELTS exam.
Hello, my name is
Here
Jonathan.
the examiner
Oh, hi.
is doing the introduction.
What's your full name, please?
My full name is Kendall Lee.
Now, here, when the examiner asks for your full name, what they want is your full Chinese name. Not the English name that you go by, your Chinese name.
And your Chinese name?
Chinese name is Li Jiande.
Okay, thank you. What can I call you?
Kendall.
I know a lot of examiners don't really ask this question, what can I call you? Because during the test, they're not really going to refer to you by name in any of the questions. Some might, but not usually.
Okay. Can I check your ID and passport, please?
Alright, in Taiwan, the IDs are not used, so of course it's just going to be your passport.
Okay.
Okay. In the first part, I'd like to ask you some general questions about yourself. Let's talk about your job or studies.
Alright, so here's topic 1 of part 1. Do you work or are you a student?
What do you do?
I'm a teaching assistant now. I teach about physics experiment.
Alright, so actually here when you say I'm a teaching assistant now, the now, adding the now at the end makes a difference. Because if you say now, then it sounds like you haven't been doing this for a long time, like it's something that you've just recently started doing. And then he says, I teach about physics experiment. It should be saying, I teach students how to do physics experiments.
Yeah. So I teach students how they to do experiment.
Okay, so we see a little bit of repetition there. And it seems this candidate really likes to end his sentences in yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Describe a typical day in your job.
Typical day. I before I teaching they do some experiment. I prepare the instrument on their table, and when student
Okay. This candidate has a tendency to add the sound to some of the words. Like for example here, and there's some other mispronunciation with the word instrument. And then if we just go back here, okay, eventually you got it right. He said before I, not I before. But then of course there should be no ing there. So it's before I teach, they do some whatever it is they do.
the instrument on their table, and when student come to labor, and I just
Alright, so here we see again lab and that's going to count against your pronunciation score. And here he uses the past tense to describe things that he does on a daily basis.
told them about this experiment, the principle, and teach them how to do this experiment.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
What's the most difficult thing about your job?
I think difficult thing is our instrument is too old, so maybe the data always lost some accuracy. Yeah.
Okay. Again, he's using the past tense to describe things that happen on a regular basis, and he's confusing the adjective accurate for the noun accuracy.
Okay. What have you learned from your boss?
My boss is good emotion controls.
Okay. This is actually not bad vocabulary, but this emotion, that should be emotional. You should be using the adjective there. And his boss has good emotional control.
Control. So maybe I do some a little trouble. He always told me, "Oh, it's okay."
Here, maybe I do some a little trouble. I'm guessing he's trying to say maybe when I do something wrong, he tells me.
Told me, oh, it's okay, it's okay. Yeah.
Okay. Now I'd like to ask you about memories.
All right, so here's the second topic, memories.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like to think about the past?
Past? No. Because I think the past may be a little bored. Yeah.
All right, so there we saw the yeah again. There's no verb here. Except for I think. So I think maybe the past is a little bored. Okay, so the candidate is confusing bored and boring here. And this answer is really short. He doesn't give examples of to support his answer. You really need to expand your answer, exemplify the part 1 answers.
Yeah.
Okay. What are some ways that you remember the past?
I remember. I remember when I started in junior high school. I joined a game. A game about.
This word is really hard to make out. I'm not sure what he joined. I was thinking maybe it's club, but what he says sounds like game. So some words are kind of hard to make out.
Now we do some singing or install some.
And also the use here of install is a little bit difficult to understand.
Cooking. Yeah.
Okay.
Activities. Yes.
Okay, well, thank you. Let's move on to pets.
So here's our second topic.
Pets.
Have you ever had a pet?
No, sorry. But I want to have a pet.
Okay, again, very short answer. No reasons, no examples of what kind of pet he'd like to have. Okay, so this next question, which pets are popular in a country? So not all the questions in part 1 are going to be personal. Some are going to be impersonal, like for example this one here.
Which pets are popular in your country?
I think dog is a pet is popular.
Okay, so we have some grammar problems here. And again, ending with yeah. It's kind of interesting that the examiner never asks him for any reasons.
Why do people enjoy pets?
Because people have something cannot talk about their friends, but he always talk to their good friend. Yeah, and the pet always smile to his owner.
Okay, so the idea is coming across clearly enough about people treating pets like good friends. I don't know if pets really smile, but okay. But now here we have the plural pets, but then smile to his owner. So there's a little bit of a problem here. So this needs to be there. And if this is pets, this should also probably be plural owners. Again, the yeah at the end.
Yeah.
Alright, so here we go with part 2.
Well, in part 2, I will give you a topic, and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Before you talk, you will have 1 minute to think about what you are going to say.
Mm-hmm.
You may make some notes if you wish.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes.
I'd like you to describe a relaxing activity.
Relaxing activity.
Alright, so there's a 1 minute preparation period here, which I cut out. We don't need to sit through that.
Could you start talking now, please?
Okay. I think relaxing activity is walking.
Okay, so here we have this again is
I usually working. I usually work after I got a little trouble. Or
It's a little bit unclear if he's talking about working out, which is like exercise, or if it's just work. Because here it says work. Previously he said working out. But alright.
I got a little trouble or something I don't know how to solve it.
Alright, so here pronunciation that came out like lat.
If I start study in my campus, and I will working around my university.
Okay, so he has a little bit of trouble differentiating between working and walking, because that working came out like walking. And then he had this is kind of interesting, the mise. Although he did think about it, but eventually he settled for mise. And the yeah at the end again.
Yeah. Or in the weekend, I go to the mountain.
Okay, so for weekend, the preposition we're looking for is on the weekend. I go to the mountain. It's not sure why he used this specific article, the. I maybe go to the mountains, or I go to a mountain to go hiking.
Go hiking, and sometimes I'll go on street.
Go on street. That's not really very clear. Go outside, walk on the street. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and either make me focus translate to another.
Does focus translate? Translate's my best guess. I don't really know what he was trying to say there. So most of these sentences just consist of subject, verb, object, subject, verb, object. So he never really uses any complex sentences.
To another place. Yeah.
Now, he spoke for more or less 1 minute, and that's simply not enough for your part 2. Try to aim for 90 seconds. Now, in this case, the examiner didn't ask him to expand any of the points that he made before. The examiner didn't give him an opportunity to try to say more. I'm not sure why. But now, here are some follow-up questions. The follow-up questions are not really part of your part 2 long turn. The purpose of these is just really to bring part 2 to an end. So when answering part 2 follow-up questions, it's best to keep it brief.
How did you find out about this activity?
Find out. I just try by myself.
It kind of sounds like somebody explained to him what while is. Maybe the examiner tried to explain to him.
I just try by myself.
Okay, so this is essentially not really an answer. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Would other people find this relaxing?
The other people. Legacy? Sorry.
Okay, so this question is not that difficult, and the candidate was unable to answer the question. So that is you not being able to answer a pretty simple question that leaves a bad impression.
The other people. Legacy? Sorry.
Alright, here we have part 3.
Okay, part 3. You've been talking about a relaxing activity, and I'd like to ask you one or two more questions related to this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's consider, first of all, the importance of relaxation.
All right, so this here, the importance of relaxation, this is the topic. The next one, the next part here, this is the question. Describe how important it is.
Describe how important it is to lead a balanced life.
Balanced life.
To live a life which...
Okay, so the candidate doesn't understand what the question is. But the problem is that the examiner, when they asked the question, the importance of relaxation, they introduced the topic, then they gave the question, describe how important it is to lead a balanced life. By part 3 of the test, the examiner should have a fairly good idea of your level of English. And in part 3, they are able to paraphrase the question. That means they don't have to use the same words that are used in the question that they have in the booklet in front of them. So the examiner really should have used easier language here, because the candidate is struggling. So maybe we can consider that to be a mistake on the examiner's part.
Balanced life.
Because now he's going to have to explain it again. And that just really wastes your speaking time.
To live a life which you don't do too much of this or too much. There's a balance between
Work
this
or,
and that.
I think it's by somebody else, because maybe some people could
We have the sound again.
do a lot of work, but some people just need a lot of time to relax. So can check yourself to do something. If you
Okay, so it's a little bit difficult to understand the message here. It's not clear where he's going.
always tired, so you should have more time to relax, I think.
Okay. And compare how
Okay, again with the language. Okay, so the examiner is not using simpler language for this low-level candidate.
people relaxed in the past to more modern relaxation techniques.
Exactly, techniques. He doesn't know what the word means. Okay, so he should have used easier words like ways or something like that.
Technique.
So in the past, a long time ago,
Hmm.
what ways would people use to relax that are different from now?
Oh. In the past, people usually go outdoor. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so here it should be outdoors. People usually went outdoors, but to do what exactly? What did they do outdoors?
But now people usually get
Okay, and people go to the theater, since it's something that happens frequently. You're describing a truth.
or play computer game, more a lot of inside activities.
Okay, so this answer at least makes sense. This should be pluralized, computer games. But then this phrase, more a lot of inside activities. So there are more inside activities, or people participate in more indoor activities, or people have more indoor activities. So instead of saying inside, let's go with indoor, and we need a verb here.
Yeah.
And yeah again.
Explain what dangers there are of no relaxation time.
Maybe the people.
be careful with the articles, because if you're saying the people, you're referring to a specific group of people. But I think here the candidate is talking about people in general, so it should just be maybe people will get whatever.
Or will get nervous, or they do things maybe disorder.
The use of disorder is kind of interesting. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe he means like people will be disorganized, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure what he means by disorder here.
Yeah. So it's very dangerous.
Okay, so I'm assuming that it means people not having time to relax. Of course, here he's using the noun instead of the adjective.
Let's talk about stress. Think of the different ways that people can deal with their stress.
Okay, so here we have our second topic in part 3 now. Stress.
Deal with.
Positive or negative ways that people might deal with their stress from work.
Okay, I think the explanation is actually not helping really. It's probably just better if the examiner uses simpler language and keeps the questions short.
Negative. If people got a lot of stress, maybe they will improve their efficiency.
Now, I'm pretty sure he doesn't want to say improve, because improve their efficiency, that wouldn't make sense. But the word I heard was prove their efficiency. So that's why there's a question mark here. I'm not sure about that word.
Maybe they will improve their efficiency for their work. Maybe they will have their work to better. But if they got a lot of pressure, but they have no way to relax, people will maybe break down. Yeah, they will do anything.
All right, let's just go back here. People will maybe. So just be careful with using double modals. So people might. So I think the candidate is distinguishing between stress and pressure. He thinks they're different. Stress is something that is positive, whereas if you have pressure, that's a negative thing.
Way to relax. People will maybe break down. Yeah, they will.
Breakdown is actually not a bad use of language. It's a little bit inappropriate here. Maybe he says, or maybe what he means is people will have a breakdown. But yeah, for his level, using breakdown, it's surprisingly good. But then, of course, it's followed by this. Yeah, don't
do anything. They will don't do anything. Oh, sorry.
Do you agree or disagree that children's lives are more stressful than they were before?
I disagree, because children may be just happy to learn anything. Because if you give a lot of pressure to the children always unhappy to learn anything.
So here he started something good. He used the if clause. So if you give, but then, or if you give a lot of, what is it? Pressure to the children. So it started off pretty good, but then here there's a verb missing from the second clause. So children will always be unhappy. So it was a good attempt to use if in a sentence, but it didn't really pay off.
Children always unhappy, and they don't want to learn anything. Yeah.
Okay, so you think that their lives are less stressful than before, or more stressful than before?
Less stressful.
Thank you. That is the end of the speaking test.
Okay, so that last question didn't really go anywhere. Okay, so let's have a look at what we just saw here, just in a different format. So with regard to vocabulary, there were some inappropriate words used, like for example, inside activities instead of indoor activities, and there were some wrong collocations, words that don't go together were used together, wrong prepositions. Maybe it was used so repetitively. The vocabulary was pretty simple. He had some problems with plurals, like I teach student instead of students. Grammar, there were problems with incorrect word order, inflections, the ing here, tenses, and then just simple grammar used, using words like and, so, because, and but to join clauses. For the pronunciation, you'll notice there were no contractions used. There were some problems with individual sounds, and also wrong sounds sometimes used, and then the that was added at the end, or at the end of a lot of words. Alright, so that's it for Band 4. I hope you found this video useful. Next we'll be looking at a Band 5 video.